Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Ty, and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts, and the reviews I share are from my perspective, but I can guarantee that more than one of us is thinking the same thing while we're watching these shows. Now, I'd love to engage with each and every one of you, so please don't forget to comment below. And if you dig this video, like, share, and subscribe. And with that said, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're stopping by for the first time, welcome. If you're returning to view more of my content because you just couldn't get enough of me the first time, I'm so glad you made it back. I sincerely hope everyone is staying safe with all of the craziness happening here in the US right now. And I mean, every time I turn around and look at the news or look at my YouTube feed, there's some crazy new BS going on with this administration. People are losing their jobs. Vital programs are being cut left and right. Planes are dropping out the sky. Y'all, this is just total and complete madness. And all of this has got me thinking about getting up and getting out of this country. Like, I'm over it, y'all. So about 2 years ago, I did a DNA test with 23andMe, and I was just curious about my DNA makeup. Well, as it turns out, 23andMe said I am not 100% that bitch. Shout out to Lizzo, even though I know I am. And Lizzo, you know what, girl? I see you out here in these streets with that body, and you are looking real good. Real good. What 23andMe did let me know was that I am 64% West African. So one of the first places I thought of packing up my little belongings for and relocating to was Africa, the motherland, y'all. The continent where all life began. I just thought, I'm tired of what's going on here in the US. Africa, that's home. That's home for all of us. Now, we all know how the media can spin a story, and some of the scenes that we've gotten here in the US coming out of Africa, it can be depicted to seem like it's not a safe place to be. And while there may be some countries within that continent that maybe may not be the safest, where the crime may be higher than in other areas, I still just have a feeling, a notion, a sense that I would feel safer amongst my people there. Because even though I'm from the US, born and raised, I just honestly have never felt truly safe here. And I've never felt valued as a Black woman here. So this has all led me to revisit a show I really got into last year, towards the latter part of 2024. And it's a 6-part docuseries on HBO Max called Coming from America. Not Coming to America. No, this isn't the movie with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, although shout out to them. This is a show that follows 4 American families as they uproot their lives in the US and relocate to the motherland. Some are moving there for personal and professional growth, while others are moving there to escape the racism and discrimination they've experienced while living here in America. I can fully relate to this. As a single 44, almost 45-year-old Black woman living in Colorado, I can tell you a few stories about the things I've experienced just existing here. The things I've experienced in the workplace, being told that I don't smile enough, or being told that I come off as being intimidating or too aggressive, and having to code switch and just alter my personality in order to fit into some of these spaces. It's just exhausting, and it's just not been pretty. So the first family we are introduced to is the Kelly family. We meet Gerald, the husband and father, his lovely wife Lamara, and 3 of their children: Isaiah, the adult child; Joshua, he's a teenager; and Hunter. He's 8. He's a cutie pie, and he is the baby. They're moving from the Bronx, New York, and they're relocating to the capital of Ghana, Accra. Gerald is a stand-up comedian, and he's cracking a joke about the number of kids him and Lamara have. Now, they are a blended family and have a total of 8 kids. And Gerald says Lamara came into the relationship with 7 of the 8 kids. Lamara said, "Psych." Now, let's start over with the truth. And Gerald tries to give a breakdown of the kid count. He says he has 5 and Lamara has 4. And I'm thinking his math is not mathing. Like, what is 1 + 1 = 3 now? Lamara steps in again and clarifies that they do indeed have 8 children, 1 whom they share, Hunter, the baby, the cutie pie, and the rest are all theirs, and they love them all. Now, Gerald echoes this, but he's sounding like he's trying to convince himself that he really does love his kids. He's looking like, do I really love them all? Yeah, I guess I love them all. Now, one thing that really stands out to me in this scene are Gerald's eyes. They are this really pale shade of green, and it's giving me T.I. and Tiny, y'all. Tiny Harris's eyes. Most of us know by now that Tiny had the color of her eyes surgically changed from brown to gray. So you know I had to go on over to Google and try to find out if this man's eyes were naturally green. And y'all, I still have not been able to find anything to tell me if this man's eyes are naturally green. And I know that some of the best investigative journalism takes place on the internet, on Beyonce's internet. So if somebody knows, please comment down below and tell me, because this is going to drive me crazy. We learned that Gerald has been a stand-up comedian for 30 years, and he's turned his love for comedy into the family business. So he's got Isaiah and Joshua and even the baby Hunter hitting the comedy stage. And he and Hunter have even been on America's Got Talent together. And truth be told, to me, Hunter is the funnier of the two. But that's just my opinion. Gerald says he and the boys completed the very first father and son comedy tour to ever take place in the history of comedy. But they haven't really experienced the breakthrough he wants them to all experience here in the United States. He has friends in Ghana who tell him the comedy scene there is ready to take off. So he is ready to take off to Ghana so he can make it do what it do. He wants to open a comedy club and make his brand blow up in the motherland. So the Kellys are at home packing for the airport. Lamara tells us that not all of their 8 kids are moving to Africa. Some of them are in college and others just didn't want to go. Isaiah says he's going because he wants to find himself a beautiful Ghanaian wife, or 2 or 3. And Gerald is looking stressed the hell out in this moment. Lamar tells Isaiah to slow his damn roll. Hunter, he is the least excited about this move. He's going to be missing his McDonald's, his Pizza Hut. He says he's not trying to go to Africa, but he has no choice. Aw, sorry, little baby. But you're right. Where your parents go, you shall go too. Lamar is wearing this ribbed pink two-piece sweater set, and Gerald is asking if she's wearing this on the plane. Her booty is popping in this fit, y'all, and Gerald is absolutely loving it. He's trying to go get a little something something in before they take off for this flight. Now, I don't know what season it was in New York at this time, but all I'm thinking is, child, you are going to be burning the hell up once y'all land. Anywho, we move on to Beacon, New York, upstate, if you didn't know. And we're introduced to the Smiley family. The Smiley family is Elaine, Gabe, and their beautiful children, William and Avery. And true to their last name, they are all smiling in this scene. They're packing for their move to Lusaka, Zambia. Elaine tells us how she's always wanted the quote-unquote American dream, with the husband, the 2.5 kids, the dog, and the house with the white picket fence. And they actually have pretty much all of that, including the white picket fence, with the exclusion of the 0.5 kids. Now, from what I can tell, Elaine pretty much runs the household. She's micromanaging Gabe as he's hauling 50-pound or 100-pound suitcases down the stairs out to the car. Gabe is also looking through the bills, trying to tie up loose ends. Gabe is here, Gabe is there. Y'all, Gabe is every damn where in this scene. They're talking to producers about how stressful it is living in the United States. Elaine is Jamaican, Gabe is Jewish, and their children, of course, are biracial. So their baby boy, William, told his mom that if he's ever approached by a police officer, that he would just tell them that he is unarmed and that he's not going to hurt them. And y'all, this child isn't even 10 years old. And it bothers me to my core that a baby this age even has to think about something like this. He says he's black and he's white, so he wants to know if the cops would hurt him. Elaine told him, baby, to the cops, you are just another brown boy in the street. She ain't never lied. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time that George Floyd was murdered in front of all of our eyes on national television, on local television, everywhere. And unfortunately, this is something that our little baby boys, our little black and brown baby boys have to be taught in the United States. And it really makes me want to cry. They should be able to just be kids. These are babies. They should just be able to be innocent and live their lives innocently and not have to be forced to grow up so quickly because of all the nonsense going on. And now what this administration is doing, causing even more divisiveness. I mean, y'all, this is just, I don't blame Elaine or Gabe whatsoever for wanting to get the hell on up out of here and show their children something different and hopefully something better. Gabe says even if baby boy hadn't brought this up, he and Elaine wanted to make this move for the kids anyway, to expose them to culture outside of the United States. So William saying what he said was pretty much what made them go all in to make this move. Now, Gabe is a college counselor at a private school, and that makes him a desirable prospect at international schools. So he applied to and was hired as a career counselor at Lusaka International School with a 2-year contract. So the kids will attend school there as well. And that pretty much just solidifies the move. There's no turning back at this point. Elaine says that she grew up on a farm with her Jamaican mother, who taught her how to kill chickens by hand. She too feels that Gabe should learn how to kill chickens by hand now that they're moving to Lasaka. Girl, goodbye and good night with that mess. The producers ask how their families feel about them moving. Gabe says his parents aren't thrilled, and Elaine says that she and her father-in-law get along great, but she and her mother-in-law have the typical daughter-in-law, mother-in-law relationship. They cool and all, but they don't really mess with each other like that. But she knows her mother-in-law means well. Gabe's parents pull up to the house to see the Smileys off before they take off for their flight to Lusaka. And y'all, I'm already exhausted for Elaine having to deal with Gabe's mother. This is going to be interesting. Back in the Bronx at the Kellys, Lamara is still at home packing, and Gerald takes Joshua and little Hunter to the barbershop so they can get clean and fresh before their flight to Ghana. They're all sitting around talking about who their favorite comedians are, and Hunter says his top 3 are Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, and Eddie Murphy. Now, Hunter is all of 8, so it seems like Gerald has done a really great job exposing him to all of our comedic greats. Joshua says his number 1 is Dave Chappelle, 2 is Chris Rock, and his 3rd favorite comedian ever is Chris Tucker. The barber says, well, what about your dad? And Joshua says his dad is lame. One thing I notice about these celebrity children is that they are not at all fazed by their parents' fame. They really do not care how big of a star their parents are to their fans, and Joshua is majorly unimpressed by Gerald. Now, Joshua has been on the comedy stage himself. Remember, he was a featured comedian in the first father-son stand-up tour in the history of comedy, according to Gerald. And so Gerald cracks a joke talking about how Joshua has been telling the same jokes since he was 6. He's surprised Joshua doesn't still walk out on stage saying, I'm 6 years old. Gerald says he ain't worried about them kids liking his skits. He has a strong fan base in the US and hopes his charisma on stage will carry over to Ghana so he can develop a strong fan base there. Now, one of Gerald's fellow comedians, Saladu, enters the shop, who just happens to be Ghanaian, and they are joined by another one of their comedic counterparts, Chris Brown. Let me see if you can run it. Yes, indeed, I can run it. Psych, y'all. Not that Chris Brown. The Ghanaian comedian, Chris Brown. And Gerald tells them that they're moving to Ghana. Saladu says, well, I hope you're ready. And they're asking the kids how they feel about the move. Joshua says all he cares about is whether or not he's going to be able to get on the PS5 there. And Hunter cares about hot dogs and spaghetti. That's it. He just wants to make sure that he's going to be able to eat the way that he eats in the US. And Saladu says, you're going to Africa to live like an African, not live like you do here in the US. So the lifestyle is going to be different. The food is going to be different. And as a matter of fact, the people of Ghana love bushmeat. So bush is a rodent, basically. It's a big ass rat, y'all. And so at that point, when Hunter heard that, he was done. So now the producers are asking the kids, who's going to want to move back to the US first? They all unanimously say Hunter. I don't know about these children, y'all. I don't know if they're going to make it over there in Ghana. So Gerald is excited about all of the opportunities to grow his comedy fan base in Ghana. Saladu says the comedy in Ghana is a little different because it's more physical. And as a matter of fact, the audience there is really into drag. So the barber says, "You doing drag with those green eyes?" Oh, Lord. Gerald and those green eyes and drag, that would be a sight to see. Joshua is open to it. He says he's ready to expand his comedic palette and incorporate some different styles. Saladou says Dave Chappelle is going to open up a comedy club in Ghana, and Gerald says that's exactly what he wants to do there. Lamara is a music journalist, and so he and Lamara wanted to put something together called Music Meets Comedy, where both of the talents meet. The barber says, "I thought you and the wife were divorced." So, y'all, here we learned that Lamara and Gerald have been going through it in their relationship. They are recently separated, but they are still together. Gerald says they met in the club and they were two opposites that just attracted. Although things are rocky between them, he hopes the move to Ghana will mend their relationship. Lamara is in her solo interview and says that she and Gerald have a lot to work out. Gerald has the comedy thing on lock, but Lamara does everything when it comes to the daily family duties. She cooks, she cleans, she's the driver, she makes sure that the kids are doing their homework, and she helps Gerald with his business. So she's kind of lost herself in taking care of everyone else. And she's hoping to get back to finding Lamara and who Lamara is and what Lamara likes. Now, y'all, I'm going to say this. I'm single and have been for damn well ever, but I've witnessed those that I love, the women I love, friends and family, kind of lose themselves in their relationships. Some of these relationships ended in one way or another, and when their partners left, or when the kids grow up and leave the nest, the women are lost. They don't know what to do with themselves. But before they held the title of girlfriend or wife or mother, they were them. They had a whole life and had experiences, and it's just vital, and I do mean vital, to maintain healthy boundaries when it comes to your relationships, and when it comes to taking time for yourself. No matter what is going on, you need to take time out for yourself and do something for you, something that you enjoy. For the most part, we as women, we're nurturers. So we tend to pour into those that we love without ever really pouring back into ourselves. And that's where resentment starts to develop. Saladou says in Ghana, Gerald and Lamara can focus on healing themselves, and then they'll be able to come back together and be stronger than ever. Lamara reiterates that she and Gerald have a lot that they need to work on in their relationship, so she'll see what happens. And by that, I have a feeling we did not get the full story or even a glimpse of really what their relationship woes are. I'm sure we'll see more of that in the upcoming episodes. We're floating on over to LA, y'all. The city of angels. We're in Cali. And tell me why I started sea walking to the music transitioning the scene from New York to Cali. I am a music lover. I can't play an instrument, but I can point out a bass line, a guitar lick. But there's just something that is different for me when it comes to these West Coast beats. And this little bop got my feet moving, y'all. In LA, we're introduced to Julia Jovan. She is conducting a healing session with several of her clients. She's working some sound bowls. She's realigning chakras. She's calling on the ancestors to fill in the studio space that they're all sitting in. She too is moving to Accra. So she makes the announcement to her clients that she's moving to Ghana and she ain't never coming back. Her clients are so happy for her. They're like, "Girl, that is so dope." Julia says it's time to transition, and she's stepping out on faith. And y'all, I know all about that. If you watch my last video, you know that's how I landed here on YouTube. Shout out to stepping out on faith. We then meet her beautiful children, her 15-year-old twin boys, Jordan and Trevor, her oldest son, Dion, he's 24, and her baby girl, Johnny Eyre. And they are the Davis family. Julia is an Emmy Award-winning makeup artist, an intuitive healer, and a mother, which is her favorite job. They're all getting ready for their flight to Ghana, and she's making sure the kids have all of their schoolwork downloaded for the trip. She homeschools all of her children, and she anticipates that she'll be homeschooling them in Ghana as well. Producers are asking the twins how they feel about the move, and they say they're nervous. Julia must have also completed her 23andMe because she says she's 96% African and 20% Ghanaian. She wants her kids to learn more about who they are, and she also wants to show them that it's good to jump out there, try new things, take on new challenges, and just open themselves up to new experiences. Julia Javon has been around the world, y'all, and she's produced a child in damn near every city she's lived in. She's lived in Chicago, where she had Dion. She moved to New York City with Dion, and then the twins came along. And then she moved to Los Angeles in 2015. There, she met and got into a relationship with the father of her baby girl, Johnny Eyre. And that relationship didn't pan out the way she hoped. So she's ready to go to Ghana. She wants to open a wellness center, and she wants to find the place where she and her children can finally grow roots, settle, and she'll no longer have to uproot her family and move to find a place where she wants to permanently live. The ladies in the healing session are getting Julia all hyped up for this move. She's telling them that she's been celibate for 3 years, y'all. But she's open to dating. She's open to meeting someone new. And if she meets the right person, potentially breaking her celibacy streak and busting it wide open. And I know that's right, girl. She's sitting on the interview couch with her boys, saying she's open to dating. And the twins are sitting there looking mind blown like, what? Y'all, these twins crack me the hell up. Just the look on their faces, eyes getting all big at the thought of their mama meeting a new man. They're like, They're like, Mom, that came out of nowhere. So the twins are in their bedroom, and Trevor is asking Jordan, what if Mom meets someone? And Jordan is like, meet someone? Like, the thought had never crossed their mind. And Trevor is like, yeah. And Jordan is like, oh my God, y'all. The way Trevor says, yeah. I mean, that tickled the hell out of me. Julia is on a video call with her friend Lenice, and Lenice says that she has a male friend in Ghana who she wants Julia to meet. He's single, he's ready to mingle, he's nice, and she thinks Julia would really like him. So she wants to hook Julia up. And Julia is hesitant, but she says she's open. Back on the farm in upstate New York, the Smiley kids are running downstairs to greet their grandparents. Gabe's dad and mom, Gary and Carol, are hugging the kids, and Gabe doesn't think that his parents will come visit them in Africa. He says that they've been to Asia, they've been to other countries, but white Americans just typically don't go to Africa. And Elaine looks at Gabe and says, you're white? Go ahead and insert your eye roll here, because I'm inserting mine. You know, I like Elaine, and I really do like her, but you can just tell her personality is very dry-ish, and so is her humor, and even that fell a little flat in this moment. Anyway, Carol does not want them to go, And neither does Gary, but Gary is a little bit more open to it. He's like, if they need me, I'm gonna be here to help them. Carol, she's just very passive aggressive, but you can tell she's very angry about them moving. She says that they need to understand how this affects other people. Carol, I'm gonna need you to have a seat or several. You are the mama. You have lived your life, and you need to allow Gabe and his family to do the same. I get that you're used to being able to pop up when you want and involve yourself in every aspect of your son and his wife's lives, but lady, I'm gonna need you to have a seat. You and Gary have raised your son, and you've done it where and how you wanted to, so you need to allow Gabe to do the same. Elaine just simply does not give a damn how Carol feels. She says they moving, so they out. Now we meet Elaine's mom, Miss Marjorie. We only see her for about 11 seconds, but y'all, I love Miss Marjorie. She has such a sweet disposition. She loves her family, but says she is not flying to Africa to see them. She is afraid to fly. She hasn't flown in 42 years. So in this scene, she's crying. Elaine is crying. Y'all, me and my perimenopause are crying. We all just a crying ass mess. We see all of the families headed to the airport, getting ready to board their flights to leave the United States. The kids and the Kelly family are on the walking runway. They doing a little jig. Gerald is concerned about being accepted in Ghana. Elaine is worried about some of the racism that they may experience in Ghana. And she says that she can be bougie, so she's also worried about classism. Julia Javon is ready to move to Africa to start a whole new life, and she cannot wait to get her family there. So in this next scene, the Kellys have arrived in Africa. They have landed in Ghana, and Lamara arranged for them to be picked up by a tour company. So they are greeted with people playing drums, and somebody was holding up a sign saying, "Welcome to Ghana." It's hot as Hades, but they are so happy to be there. Lamara is dancing around in that pink two-piece sweater set, and her boots just sweating all over the place. And Gerald says he don't ever dance, but his feet got to moving around that day. He was looking down at his feet like, what is we doing? The Kellys are greeted by Tony Jones. He's a Black American expat and the owner of Expat Life Ghana. Now, Lamar did her research, y'all, and she found Tony's company after watching his videos about his family's transition to Ghana. Tony arranged for the Kellys to meet the chief and queen mother when they landed, and Lamar and Gerald are bowing as they greet everyone. Then they're bowing when they're greeted back, and they're bowing again after anyone says anything to them at all. Lamar thought Gerald had done his research and thought this was the proper way to greet someone, so they're bowing like Rihanna was singing to him. Go on and take a bow. And the producer asked, why were you bowing so much? You know that's not customary, right? Lamara says she was just taking Gerald's lead. Girl, now you being the backbone and the researcher of the Kelly household, you should have known much better than that. Julia Javon and her family land at the airport, and they get all loaded into their Sprinter van. She's also complaining of the heat, but she is also wearing an oversized sweatshirt and some sweatpants, and she's looking hot to me. She's making me hot just looking at her. Both the Kellys and the Davises are taking everything in. Julia notices how every advertisement and billboard they drive past features Africans, people who look like us. The Ghanaian people are walking through the streets. They're carrying various items on their heads, such as apples and bananas and bottles of water. Tony is in the Sprinter van with the Kellys, and he's telling them where they're at is the beginning of East Legon. And before he can even finish his sentence, Gerald is asking about the Wi-Fi. Tony says, when you left the airport, you left the Wi-Fi. That was it. And Gerald and those green eyes look like they were about to cry. He said, who do I need to talk to for the Wi-Fi? Jesus, sir. Jesus is the only Wi-Fi you have right now. Tony is asking what the Kellys are doing in Ghana, and Gerald tells him they're there for work and that he does comedy. Comedy is outside of Tony's wheelhouse, but he's got some connections to folks on the comedy scene in Ghana, and he says, let me see what I can do to help you out there. I'm Tony Jones, and I can pretty much get you whatever you need. All right, Tony Jones, well, work your magic. Gerald says he needs the Ghanaians to understand his style of comedy. He ain't trying to hear nothing about doing stand-up in drag. Isaiah wants to try African food, but asks Tony about fast food places. So they start naming off all the restaurants: McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. And Tony said, keep on, you'll name one of them eventually. Hunter busts out with Pizza Hut. And Tony says, bingo, you got one. Hunter was pretty good after that. Gerald says he grew up in Burger King, so he's going to need to have his own food shipped to Ghana. Julia notices that there are no red or green stoplights, so people driving just go when they want to. Julia and the Davis family arrive to their place, and y'all, it is nice. And it's a decent size for all of them. The inside isn't 100% modern like we would expect in the States, but it's modern enough. Back on the Sprinter van, the Kelly kids are talking about the different types of wildlife they want to see. And Tony says they're going to see a lot of goats. Hunter says, goats are just walking around? Tony says, yes, and if you catch one, you can keep it as a pet. Lamara is like, please don't encourage this boy. Hunter says goats are really cute, like really cute. Well, Hunter baby boy, so are you. You are really cute. Now it's nighttime, and the Kellys finally arrive to their new temporary home. Lamara is hot and tired, and Gerald can't get the door unlocked, and as usual, Lamara got it. Now, y'all, the house isn't modern like the Davis home, but it is nice. Gerald opens the fridge and ain't feeling any cold air, so he calls Lamara into the kitchen. Again, as usual, Lamara got it. She checked the outlet and saw it wasn't plugged in. She plugged it in and voila, the refrigerator is working. Gerald is up there sweaty as hell talking about, we did it, teamwork, high five. Sir, goodbye and good night. Everybody picks out their rooms and they all get settled for the night, but before they do, they come across a squatter. They come across a little baby lizard crawling up the master bedroom wall. We see Gerald trying to get the lizard out, but just like the fridge, I can almost guarantee that Lamara escorted the baby gecko on up out of their place. Joshua and Hunter are losing their minds without the Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi, no phones, no tablets, no PS5. And Hunter says, how am I going to do this? Baby, I'm saying the same thing. And it's a damn shame how reliant we've become on the internet and these electronic devices, but here we are. The Smileys are settled into their home in Lusaka. Elaine is hanging up wall decorations, and Gabe is talking about the scenery and how modern everything is. Elaine says it looks nothing like what we've been shown of Africa on TV in the US. It's very suburban, and mostly everything in their home is pretty modern. The dog even made it over on his flight, so Gabe and Elaine are out walking him. And Gabe says there are some white people in Lusaka, but you rarely see them walking around. And you rarely see anybody walking their dogs. So when people see a white man in the street walking their dog, well, all eyes are on him. The adjustment has been hard. There's no washing machine, so laundry is hung on the line outside, and the flies are crazy. The refrigerators are much smaller, much smaller than they are in the States. So the Smileys have to go to the grocery store much more often. and there are no grocery stores within walking distance. So Elaine has to drive, and Lord, why do they do her like that? Elaine didn't learn to drive in the States until she was in her 30s. So in Lusaka, they drive on the left side of the road, and the steering wheel is on the right side of the dash, not the left. So this has gotten Elaine all kinds of discombobulated, child. Her stress levels are off the charts. Gabe is in the passenger seat trying to help guide her, and Elaine is thinking about all of the kids and people she's gonna hit walking down the side of the road. People walking down the side of the road do not move out of the way, so Elaine is losing her damn mind. She's about to stroke out. She's really about to have a heart attack. With no streetlights and no stop signs, Elaine feels it's best that she does not drive in Lusaka for the time being. And Elaine, I agree, girl. I feel like that's best for you as well, because your mental just can't handle it. We get an aerial drone shot of Elaine's car, and she's literally driving 2 miles an hour so everybody sees her. And I'm looking at the TV like, girl, is the car even moving? Julia meets with someone at a day spa to check out the competition because she wants to open a day spa up in Ghana. She's offered tea and some aromatherapy, and they tour the spa. But Elaine says the place just needed a little something more. And the masseuse needs some more education about his massage techniques. Julia is receiving a neck massage and looked like she was in excruciating pain the entire time, y'all. The masseuse asks, "Did you enjoy your massage?" And she's like, "Yes, it was lovely." Okay. Elaine was very unimpressed and feels even more secure now about opening up her business and providing her services to the people in Ghana. She feels like they are going to be blown away by what she has to offer. The Smileys then made it back home from the grocery store, safe, and Elaine is all smiles now that she's up out that car. They're sitting out on the porch, drinking their water, hydrating, when Gabe pulls out of his ass that Mama Carol is arriving to Lusaka the day after tomorrow. Elaine is like, boy, you too funny. Stop it. Gabe is like, no, I'm serious. And we need to find her a place to stay. But before Gabe could even finish that sentence, good old Elaine is like, oh, well, she's not staying here. Now Elaine has gone from being as cool as a cucumber to looking like she did behind the steering wheel of that car. Totally stressed out. And y'all, that is the end of the episode. I'm so glad I went back to revisit that show because it's been a few months and I just completely forgot how funny everyone is, especially the kids. They are my absolute favorites. And Little Hunter Kelly, he is a star, a straight up star. So y'all, if you haven't seen this show, check it out on HBO Max and come back to this channel next week. I will be posting a review for episode 2. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It is the absolute best way to support my channel and to help me grow on YouTube. And until next time, be blessed, stay safe, and don't forget to tell someone you love them today, even if you only tell yourself. Love y'all.